While the Carter administration exercised a policy of case-by-case review, and in fact only granted approvals for reprocessing activities when there was demonstrable need, that was the criteria at the time for those activities. The policy was dramatically changed in 1982 in the Reagan administration. And in June of 1982, the Reagan administration announced a policy which basically said, we're now open for business to grant long-term consent to reprocessing in advanced nuclear programs that were well-defined. The first such agreements that embodied these advanced consents were agreements with Sweden and Norway, presumptively uncontroversial. We weren't worried about the Swedish and Norwegian military programs or their threat to the United States. And we gave Sweden and Norway advanced long-term consent to reprocess nuclear fuel from the reactors provided by the United States or from fuel provided by the United States, as long as that reprocessing took place in the UK or France. And we retained the right to approve the transfer of the separated plutonium back from the UK and France to Sweden and Norway. Well, even though those were mitigating circumstances, I didn't like it. I felt that that was at odds with the language and history and structure of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Act. And representing then Senator Alan Cranston and Representatives Howard Volpe and Mike Barnes, we brought a lawsuit termed Cranston versus Reagan.
Guess who won? Guess who won?
Well, we raised all these issues in great depth in that lawsuit. Unfortunately, from my perspective, the court never reached the issue. The court said, well, this raises a non-justiciable political question. I don't want to get into issues which relate to the validity of our agreements with our allies, and I'm not going to reach the merits of the case, whether these agreements are contrary to the nuclear non-proliferation or not. And that was the end of it. And that case was never appealed, and that stands as the only example of litigation challenging advanced long-term consents. It didn't really get very far.